Hi, this is Irish Eyes True Crime.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Irish Eyes True Crime. Today I want to talk about Keith Barlow and Rowan Water, and I'll see what else I can fit in today's video. Now, as I said before, a lot of us were following Nicola's case right from the beginning. So we would have been in Facebook groups and following stuff on YouTube as well. And I remember at the start, when it came out about, well, we didn't know his name at the start, about the man with the white fluffy dog. There was talk about it at the start through our Facebook. Now, it was said at the time that Keith had seen a few people in the field and that he heard the dog barking and things like that. And even like someone had mentioned that they had seen something about him seeing the fisherman. Now, I'm not sure, because when we all looked for it, we couldn't find the stuff on it afterwards, because we know a lot of stuff had been taken down off different places. Now, we were told at the time that seemingly the police discounted his account of the amount of people in the field because he had seen this from his house or the area, like up at the estate. Now, I'm not sure whether it was from the house before he had left or when he was out, say, in the front in front of all the houses before he left through the gate. Now, some of the houses, there is a chance that from your backyard that you might be able to see up towards the bench area and see the lower field. But also where the cars drive in towards the end of Rowan Water, that's a bit higher than the upper field. So if you were walking around there, you'd probably see most of the upper field except for behind bushes, that's up against the river. I remember at the time the picture I had in my head when the police had released this about this elderly man and stuff. Like, I had a picture of this frail elderly man, so I was thinking, all right, maybe the police is right. There's a chance he mightn't have seen so far away of, say, something from his house or in front of his house or something like that. So I guessed that's why the police kind of discounted it at the time. But obviously, the Barlows weren't happy with the police discounting what Keith had witnessed. And they obviously felt concerned enough that they went to the Times paper. Hilary, the wife, went to the Times to give the information about the husband seeing 3 people in the field, including her husband. Like, that's something you would expect. Like, if that was me and I felt like the police weren't listening to me and, I thought it was important that I'd feel like I'd have to come forward and say something. Like, we all know how the police behaved and they discounted everything everyone that came forward to say stuff, like, it was like they tried to discount it and just go with the river theory. Like, we even seen that with the man who had to literally keep contacting the police to try follow up about the fisherman. I understand now why they literally didn't want keep Barlow's story kind of read out at the inquest, or for him to be there to give his statement at the inquest. It's the same reason why they didn't want the man that seen the two fishermen. The same reason why they didn't have Peter Falden at the inquest. The same reason why they didn't have Jason at the inquest. It's all because it will go against their narrative. Now, I will be doing a video on the police after a while. I just have to do a few videos beforehand. Now, I believe Keith Barlow knows more. And it's probably about what happened or what he's seen before he even got into the field. Previous to when he went walking his dog. And I feel like the wife was brave enough to come forward to the Times and wanted the information to be out there, going against what the police had said, because obviously they believed that they should be heard and that there was more people in that field. But the only information the police would let out about it, obviously because they weren't even going to let them talk, let Keith talk about it, was the fact that he seen Penny. And that was because that fitted their narrative of the harness being halfway between the bench and the river, and that the phone was found on the bench to make it look like an accident. Now, so we know that Hillary was brave enough to go to the Times, but after that, she received the phone call from Chris. Now, I don't know whether Chris realises that if someone was worried enough and thinking that something happened to Nicola, like if that was me, say, and I was in Hillary's position, and you suspected something like third party involvement, and you were worried because your husband seen more people in the field, and you suspected that something happened to Nicola, receiving a phone call from a stranger like that could frighten the life out of a person, because it would frighten the life out of me. Especially if you think this person, this stranger ringing you, might have been the person that had something to do with what happened to Nicola. So it could explain why we heard no more from Keith or Hillary, and they didn't fight more to get the information out there. Like, they're getting it from both angles, if you know what I mean. The police don't believe what Keith had seen, and they receive a phone call from a stranger. So I can see why they didn't continue to go to the papers. Like, I can understand their concern, like wondering how this person found out who they were and how they knew that they had went to the Times paper and stuff like that. So I can understand how they'd be concerned. So if Keith had seen more than one person, so say we seen 2 people or 3 people in the field, that would go against the police narrative that it was only Penny in the field. If they were going by the time that he went into the field. But I wondered, was it that he seen something between the 9:10 and 9:35 before he entered the field? And the police don't want that information to get out there. I don't know. But I would love to know what he actually did see. And I hope in the future that they come forward and give that information. Now I want to talk about the camera up on the pole that the family and Grizzly True Crime said that it wasn't working. Now they have it said that it was pointing out towards the field. If you see the one in green, that's the one that's pointing down at the gate. And they're saying the other one is pointing out towards the upper field. And that's the one that wasn't working. Now, if you watched my last videos, you'll see that they made a big point about that. It was constantly going on about this camera and that it was pointing out towards the field. So the one they're talking about is the one in red. And they say that's pointing out towards the field and that one wasn't working. Now, this is the cameras on the pole. And if you're standing with your back against the fence that's beside the upper field, this is your view of that camera, of them cameras on that pole. Yes, there's 2 cameras on the pole, but one of them is shining at the gate. That was the green one that was in the photograph. But the other one in red is not actually shining on the field. It's actually pointing the other end of Rowan Water. It's not pointing towards the field at all. Now, I don't know whether this picture does it justice at all, but I can assure you, I've checked it through videos I've looked at, and that's exactly where it's pointing. It's actually pointing the other end of Rowan Water, where it splits between the 2 parts of Rowan Water. It's not pointing towards the field at all, and I can assure you of that. I've looked it up. Now, I wonder, was that a mistake by the family, because we know Paul's friend kept giving this information to Grizzly True Crime, or whether it was on purpose, because if you just look at the camera, it wasn't even pointing there at all. So why keep going on about it? And as I said in my last video, it was them that kept pointing us in the direction of Rowan Water and the caravan park. Now, the one camera that is pointing that direction is pointing down in that left-hand corner that you see. That's where the gate into the field is, and that's the one that's pointing down there. The other one is pointing down towards the end of Rowan Water. The picture of Keith Barlow that's pictured here with his dog, this is obviously taken from one of the houses. It's not taken from the pole, because if you see the angle, it's like from one of them houses, it's looking out towards that beach hedging. And that beach hedging is alongside, behind that beach hedging, there's a walkway where the river is. So obviously this is a home camera from one of the homes along there. I do wonder about all those home cameras, because in none of the pictures that were sent out can you see any timestamps on it or date stamps on it. Alright, I might seem a bit paranoid, but I don't trust the police. And none of the ones they gave us have the official timestamps on them. There's all these white timestamps with their writing on it. Even the ones they had given out originally, looking for, say, the lady in the red coat and the lady in yellow coat, none of them have the proper timestamps or date stamps on them. And I find that weird. The only one where we got that on it was the ones of Nicola that Emma had released. Well, the video footage of the CCTV. So I don't know why they didn't give the proper dates and times. But as I say, I don't trust the police, so unless I see it myself, I find it hard to believe. Because I can think of two other things. I think of Richard Fife. Originally, Richard Fife, I think it was said that he was in around that area at the 9:10. And even after the police had said about him being captured on CCTV, but now remember, all of the pictures we got of the CCTV had those stickers, the police stickers on it. But I was thinking afterwards, even after that, at the inquest, Richard Fife still tried to put himself in the field around the time that Nicola disappeared. Because he still went on to say it was between 9:10 and 9:20, even though the police had said it wasn't. Like, I wondered why he would put himself, in that frame of being there when she disappeared, if he didn't think he was right. I just find it weird. Like that he would try to put himself in at that time. But also you have Penny. Even though the police said an exact time of 9:33, that Penny was there at the bench or picked up the phone or whatever, they're saying it was 9:33. But Penny says it was 9:40. That's the time she gives, and she gave that at the inquest. So I find it strange that, like, the police didn't have CCTV of Penny at that bench. So why did they go against her time? I just find it strange. And why would Penny put herself there at that time, knowing the scream was heard around that time? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, there's two people putting themselves in time frames of around something happening to Nicola. Like, why would they deliberately do that? I don't understand it. Maybe we can talk about it again, because I just don't understand it. I'm going to leave it there for now because I have a few videos to do and get done. But I also want to do a short video on my health, and I'm hoping that you watch it, because I don't want to have to, keep explaining why sometimes I might be missing from doing videos. Also, if I want to do lives in the future, there's reasons why, I might have to do certain things and that. So I just want you to have a look at it, and I hope you do, please. It'll only be a short video, and I just want you to check it out. I'll have it on after this one. And as I say, I'll be doing more videos regarding Nicola, coming up to the police one that I want to do. So don't worry, I won't be giving up on Nicola. I might have to do other videos as well, but as I say, don't worry, I won't be giving up on Nicola. So bye for now. Be safe, be happy. Love, Irish Eyes.